Attention, prisoner 903-8970, you're up for parole.
American Arts Radio presents live from Chisel Multimedia Studios, Comics on Parole in Hollywood South. Here's your host, Dan Glazer.
Welcome to Comics on Parole. My name is Dan Glazer, and right now we have a guest that's been a Facebook friend for a long time, actually, and she's a touring comedian from New York, from the big city of New York City, but grew up in Baltimore. She's been seen on MTV, Fox News, and Amazon. Give it up for Miss Walker Hayes. Where's the soundtrack, the laugh track, the clap track, Matt? We need a clap track. Sorry. What kind of studio is this? Anyway, thank you for coming in.
Yeah,
this is really a big honor because we've been Facebook friends for years, and I really want, because you're much more than a stand-up comedian.
I'd like to think so.
Tell us what you are really. I can't quite figure it out. Are you a model?
A ball of energy.
Tell me. Can I tell you're very intelligent? Were you like 160 IQ straight A student?
I was not a straight A student for sure. But yeah, no. I mean, I have been acting since I was a very small child. And writing and performing since I was probably 3 years old.
Really?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been in entertainment in some facet for most of my life. And stand-up has just been the last, 9 years.
Oh, no, we've done it at the exact same time.
Yeah.
Were you like 15 when you started stand-up?
So, yeah, I mean, stand-up is sort of the latest iteration, but it's not, it's by far not the only thing that I focus on.
But, there's a 5-year wall in stand-up, and there's a 10-year wall. It's like being a doctor. It takes about 10. Ron White, I heard the other day, it took him 20 years. It's not overnight.
Sure.
But your delivery is very good. We're going to show it in a minute.
Okay.
So you really were a performer, commercials, theater?
Yes. It started with commercial. Actually, yeah, commercial was the first thing I did, and then I did theater all of growing up. Still do a little bit of it, but not as much because it's very time-consuming.
And you grew up in Baltimore.
I did. I grew up in Baltimore. And then I moved to New York, then I moved to LA, then I moved back to New York, and now I'm here in Atlanta for probably about a year.
Just a year?
Yep.
Why just a year?
Well, that's the length that I've chosen so far.
What city are you going to go to after that?
It remains to be seen. I mean, we're some production off the ground here, and we see how that goes.
Well, you're where it's at right now. We're in Hollywood of the South.
Then we stay. Yeah.
Everywhere you go, there's a movie being filmed.
Yes.
The other day, I was passing by a field. In the middle of the field, they were filming a movie. And I was a porno movie. And in complete disgust, I rolled my window down and I yelled, "Hey, are you guys hiring any extras?"
I was going to say, I feel like we're very far east for that industry.
No, it's a lie. It's just a joke that doesn't work on stage. Anyway, so you've been doing comedy for 9 years, and you did acting, and you did commercials. Anything we would know?
I've been in all kinds of things. I don't have anything running right now, I don't think. Maybe a regional furniture commercial, but you guys won't see that down here.
How long did you live in L.A.?
I lived in L.A. off and on for 5 years. I was going back and forth between there and New York.
The price of living there is so high.
Well, I mean, New York is...
It's worse. It's just
worse, yeah.
It's worse than L.A.?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But there's nothing like New York.
I'll agree with that.
I've just driven through L.A., but there's nothing like New York City.
Yes. But I will also say that there's nothing more exhausting than New York City.
Oh, yeah. No, it's exhausting. You're right.
I needed a break. I'm looking forward to having the southern.
Were you ever at the ball drop at the...
Oh, heavens no. Oh, goodness. I have no idea why people do that.
So we just want to get... you're in a lot of... You still tour, right?
Yes.
You're still touring. You have a manager or an agent? Or?
Not for touring. I don't know.
Okay. In fact, I have a friend here. He's putting on some big shows. Are you interested in being in other shows?
No, that depends on what the show is.
I'll give me email them content. He puts on... No, they're not like underwear comedy shows. They're real shows.
And I'm not interested.
Oh, you want underwear? Okay, gotcha. I'll tell him. So anyway, basically, you're in a lot of shows. I just want to show some of the posters that, to prove she's in a lot of shows.
Don't take my word for it.
I don't think anyone's worth it. Okay, let's stop. Okay, so this actually is Gilbert Gottfried,
It is.
and you were doing a production with him, right?
Yes, Gilbert was on a show called Dinner with Danny that I did the casting for. So Danny Daniels is a very well-known adult star, and she has a show on Amazon where she invites a comic to come have dinner with her and some other guests from the adult industry, and it's just kind of a fun back and forth. They pick a topic that they're going to cover and how it relates to both comedy and the adult world.
Oh, it's adult film world?
The show is not adult themed, but
Right.
she's an adult actress.
Oh, gotcha,
And
okay.
the guests are also adult
So,
actors.
so you have a celebrity on there, and this time you have Gilbert Gottfried.
Yes.
But did they know he's going to be there?
Yes.
Okay, and so what goes on in the show? I wish I had a clip of that. But what goes on in the show?
Well, so it's called Dinner with Danny. So it's a big, table like this, and they're all having dinner, and they're, it's basically, just spitballing fun stuff. It's comedians and adult actors. I mean, you can't really go wrong.
He came here about a year or two ago and did a talk, and it was real. The story of his life was really, really good. It's a movie, and he never used to cuss or anything. And his girlfriend said, "You need to start cussing." Be vulgar, because this tiny little guy, it would be a surprise coming out of him, and that's when he really started getting big, which is the opposite of most people.
Yeah.
And but it was funny. Someone asked him. He let you ask questions, and someone asked him, "Do you regret what happened? What are your feelings of losing the Aflac duck?" He said, "Well, that was an expensive hobby." You heard about how he lost
Yes.
the duck, $1 million a year.
Yeah.
And have you ever listened to his podcast?
No.
It's called the Colossal Podcast. It's incredible. And
no,
he's
I'm
had
not.
Dick Van Dyke on and legends. It's called on YouTube. It's called the Super Colossal Podcast. It's incredible. It's really, really good. So and I was talking to him after the show because he was a big fan of Dick Van Dyke. Dick Van Dyke used to live here in Atlanta. He told stories on WSB television to children and did the weather.
Oh.
And then he got discovered and went to LA.
Okay.
So anyway, let's go to a few other posters because Walker is in a lot of here in the Raw comedy show.
Levity Live, yeah, that was last year. That was fun. Levity's a cool venue.
Where's that at?
That's over in New Jersey.
Jersey. Okay. Now this is the one. Is that you?
No.
Take it off. It's a fraud.
That's not me. So my friend, and I know who tagged me in that for the reason he was saying, "Oh, this looks like you. You could be this person," but no, I'm not. I'm not in that.
Okay, now this is a cool poster. This is actually a movie.
Yes, this is a movie that was released 2 years ago, and it's actually going into. I believe it's going into broader distribution in 2020, but it's on Amazon right now.
Oh, really? Yeah. What is it about?
It's about two friends who endeavor to compete in a triathlon, and just like the trials and tribulations that you go through trying to take on something of that magnitude.
Is it serious? Is it funny or funny and serious?
And I would say it's lighthearted. It's Hallmarkish, if you will. I'm the comic relief. I'm the best friend of the lead. It was really fun. We did a couple. I did a triathlon when we were done with the movie. We filmed at a couple of them, obviously, and went through a lot of the training. I mean, it's a grueling process.
I don't know how you do it. Are you still a triathlete?
No. I guess once a triathlete, always.
Did you do it just for the movie?
No, I mean, when the movie wrapped, when production wrapped, we did one, myself and the producer and the executive producer.
And so after you made this movie, did you take it to the conventions to sell the movie? Or did you put it straight to Netflix?
I did not.
Oh, you had nothing to do with it?
I had nothing to do
You were just in it?
That's right, I was just in it.
Got it. Very good. Okay, it's a nice poster. And here's another one. Is he a big one? Is he pretty...
Stefan Sapatic.
Yeah.
He's very popular in Baltimore. So those are the two most recent shows that I did. I was back on the road doing shows in Maryland. So I did a show in Southern Maryland and a show in Baltimore with them.
Gotcha. And what I don't know what happened. I saw on Facebook you were moving to Atlanta. So I said, well, I'd love to have her on the show. So I sent you Rich Scheidner, who's from Baltimore, grew up in Baltimore. I don't know if you would have come on if you hadn't seen him.
It was certainly a fun clip.
Yeah. But had you ever heard of Rich before?
No.
Rich was very big in the 80s. He was on the first year of Married with Children. Do you know Married with Children? First year of that. He was huge in the 80s. And he did a skit called Canyon Man. Go to YouTube and type Canyon Man. It's hilarious. And then he was in the movie Roxanne with Steve Martin and a big long nose, Narrow J. Bergerac. And he's sword fighting with Kevin Nealon to Steve Martin. They're sword fighting. And the interesting thing is, when they break, Rich was a big fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger. So Kevin Nealon and him would go lift weights. And Rich Eisner would say to Kevin Nealon, "We're going to pump you up, Kevin. We're going to pump you up." That's where they got Hans and Franz. You ever seen Hans and Franz?
Oh, gotcha, okay.
So Kevin Nealon came up to Rich Scheidner and said, Rich, I want to take you to Hawaii. He said, why? He goes, well, you gave me the idea for the hospital. He goes, nah. I maybe gave you the idea, but you took it from there.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's go to the next poster. And, this is a tour. Is this when did you do this tour?
So they did a tour, and I jumped on this show. They happened to be coming through New York, so I did the New York leg of that with them.
Oh, wow. Oh, it looked like a big deal. It was just in New York, or did you tour other places?
I only jumped on that show
gotcha,
in New York.
Gotcha. Okay, and then what else you got? Oh, that's this. Who's that?
That's Baltimore. That's Stefan Spottage.
What else you got there, Matt? Oh, okay. This is your new pad.
That's my new dig.
I hope it was okay I put this on. It was on Facebook. The world saw it, but I got to tell you, that's a heck of a view.
It is. It's a lovely development. I'm very, I'm happy there so far. I haven't lived here long, but it's going good so far.
How long have you been here?
I've been here just about a month, but I was on the road for part of that. So
I've never seen this building. I didn't know we had skies like that in Atlanta. Look at that. That's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's not a resort. It's where you live. That's amazing.
It's certainly nice to be out of New York and have some space and some greenery around.
I used to live in Houston, which is like prehistoric. Have you ever been to Houston?
No.
It's a fun town, but it's like prehistoric. I mean, they actually have cockroaches that fly and breathe fire. I'm not exactly, they don't breathe fire, but they fly. It's like prehistoric, but it's a fun town. And when I got to, it's all flat. When I got to Atlanta, it's like a paradise. It's just so beautiful. The landscape is so beautiful. And it's becoming a great movie town.
Yes.
And really great comedy town. You don't come to Atlanta to do comedy for money. You do it for the stage time.
Yeah.
And speaking of stage time, you were at the Star Bar last night.
I was just hanging out. Just
you didn't go up?
I did not go up last night. No,
Why?
just hanging out.
Would they have lectures?
They had like 13 comics on the ticket last night. It was a very long show.
That's when I walk in there. I can't take the smoke. It's hard. I'm 62 years old. I would like to. It's one of the funnest bars you go to. I just can't take. I'm going to do it one day. I'm going to call up and get some time.
I don't know how they are able to still allow smoking.
Oh, that's not legal, is it?
I mean, it's not legal anywhere else.
Oh my God!
I don't know how they do
And
it.
I told you about a cousin of mine in the stand-up, but she made me stay and see the show, and I was just dying. But it is a great bar. A lot of celebrities hang out there. In fact, a sad story is, the Hunger Games? You ever seen the movie The Hunger Games? I haven't. I've seen bits and pieces.
I know. I'm one of those people. If I don't see something like that when it comes out, then it's just, if it comes up in conversation, I think about it, but I never think about it.
One of the big stars, I can't think of his name, but he hung out there. A lot of stars go, and a lot of professional comedians that will come just try a new set there. So, but did you have fun?
Yeah, it's always a good time. I hadn't been there in a few years, so just wanted to scope it out. Yeah, it's long.
Amazing. It's long. It's really, really long. Okay, let's go to the next. Okay, what do we got next here? That was why I put this up there. That was before you did an underwear comedy show.
No.
No, that isn't it.
No.
But you had a clip up there about the underwear comedy show.
This is probably me promoting when I was first getting into town. I did one with Joe just for.
Okay, let's go to the next one because I do have you went on stage. Because now, are you a model?
I was for a long time. Yeah.
What was that for?
These are just shots that a photographer asked me to, do studio time with her.
Now that outfit I saw on a poster on a comedy show you were doing.
Yeah, people will, public stuff. That's what I was telling you. I mean, if it's on my social media, it's up for grabs. So,
but that's beautiful. Yeah. I mean, it's a beautiful photo. You're very photogenic.
Producers will often take pictures of me not looking even remotely comedic.
No, that was very good. Okay, this is from the.
This is from Try.
Try, yeah, but I don't know how you do that. Are your parents? I bet your parents must be very proud of you.
They are. They're good people. I'm very lucky to have them.
Now, where do they live?
They're in Baltimore.
They're in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Okay. There's your parents right there.
Mm-hmm.
There's your parents right there.
That's us at the premiere.
Okay, go to the next picture. I think that's the underwear show. It's not what it is. There's a reason. What's the next picture?
That's it.
There's no more? Oh, okay. Oh, that's okay. It didn't matter. The reason I say is these underwear comedy shows are all over the town. And no one ever asked me to be in them. So I created my own underwear comedy show.
Okay.
And except it was going real well, except finally the manager kicked me out of the underwear section of Kohl's department store. Otherwise, it was a great
Sounded
show.
tough, man.
Sounded tough. So before we get to your video, I want to get to your sets. So you've opened up you're opening up a production company here, right? Mm-hmm. And what are you looking to film, to shoot here?
So we can't talk too much about that because we're still, in the process of structuring our deal and whatnot. But it'll be very film focused.
Film focused. Mm-hmm. The big silver screen or TV?
Probably more TV to begin with, and
right.
then we'll add a feature to the roster once we have some of that under our belt.
Right.
That's the current plan of attack. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go back to that. But right now, let's show Walker Hayes stand-up video set. Do you have that? I hope you have it. That's it.
Thing about that, right, guys? Guys always say that. Oh, girls always want you to wear a condom. No! You think girls want you to wear a condom? We don't want you to wear a condom. That's like taking a little break from something awesome to do something fucking terrible and stupid. Right? You don't go to a restaurant and take a big whiff of a beautiful cheeseburger and go, hang on, can I get a shot of prune juice and a fork to stab my tongue with real quick? Just real quick, I want to bring myself back to reality.
This is, I think that's 3 years ago.
3 years ago?
Yeah.
So when you first started doing stand-up, was it hard for you?
Hard in what sense?
Well, it almost gave me a stroke.
No. It was easier on me than it was on you, I guess.
Oh, yeah. It was terrible. For some, I remember sitting on my dad's lap at 6 years old, and I heard the word comedian. And I asked my daddy, what's a comedian? He goes, someone saying, it's going to make someone laugh. Once I said, that's what I want to be. So from 6 to 14, that's all I ever wanted to be. Never told many people except a cousin of mine. That's all I ever wanted to be. Then at 14, I forgot about it. Never thought about it again until I was 52 years old. And I was in the hospital. A friend of mine I worked for was in the hospital. He had a stroke. And I was with him and his wife for 5 weeks. And the hospital was just sucking me dry.
Sure.
And I don't know if it's the equipment or what, but you get older every day. So I just started writing down jokes. And it was funny. There was this big hulking truck driver in the same room as his. I mean, very big guy from Indiana, where I'm from. And my friend, the nurse didn't come, so he asked me if I could shave him. So I'm shaving him. This guy was looking at us. And I said, don't worry, Larry, we're not funny boys, but we do sit by your bed in the middle of the night and stare at you. And my friend couldn't stop laughing. So I had hundreds of jokes here that were all bad, like my jokes are today. And I got back to Atlanta, and out of the blue, my son mentioned a comedy class. So I didn't tell anyone how I was going to do it, so I signed up for it.
Okay.
And then they had you do graduation at Punchline. And you think you're God's gift to comedy. When
sure.
If your joke isn't funny, he's in back at stage telling everyone laugh. So you think you're God's gift to comedy. So the next weekend, I said, I have to do this again or I'll never do it again. And I did, and no one could have bombed worse. And I did some kind of joke with a mask on, a chicken mask, and I can't tell you, it was so dumb. Everyone booed me off the stage. So I went back, took the mask on. A friend of mine was a decent comic, put the mask back on and came out. Everyone booed. Everyone booed. But it was tough on me. You know, when you're young, I don't have stage fright. When you get older, you develop that stage. So you never had stage fright because you were always theater.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's different. I tell people, I think, when it's large venues and I don't know anyone, I'm probably less nervous than when it's smaller venues, when it's more intimate, or when I have, friends and family there.
Right.
That makes me more nervous than performing for lots of strangers.
Yeah, friend and family. We had a comedy contest in Georgia, and the prize, it was at a Bonkers. You've heard of Bonkers?
I haven't.
The prize was to go do 5 minutes at Louis Anderson's club.
Okay.
And you know Louis Anderson.
I know who Louis is.
And because a lot of young people don't know, but he's still big. So I only won by default. They had 3 shows. No one was showing up on it. And they said, whoever wins the last show gets to go. So I won the last show. And I was fine with it. I was cool with it. It's in Vegas. Except my boss, who I work out of Vegas, he said, Dan, you better be good. There'll be 1,000 people in the audience. I didn't want to do it. I did not. I was waiting. The day of, I didn't even want to do it. So when I got there, there were 50 people in the audience. And so it was fun. It was good. And I had a niece came along with me. She dated a comedian named Hallie Borgford for 2 years. But it's no life it's hard life for a married couple. They didn't get married, but they dated for 2 years.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's a terrible, terrible line of work to try to make relationships.
It's a young man's job. But he's a nice guy, Louis Anderson. I don't think he has that club anymore. But he's going to be playing a cat or something in some show I just read. But anyway, so this is a really good, because you're in theater. How much more time do we have, Matt?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. This is good. I was impressed with this video. I actually watched this 2-3 times, and every single word made sense. it actually did. First, I was kind of confused. Then I listened again. I said, "This is actually making." Set this video. It's the working weekend video. Set that up for us.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Tell you what it is?
You were in. Yeah, go ahead. Right?
Yeah, no, it's a clip from a piece, a British office, and it's somebody that's figuring out that she has to stay and fix the work that one of her coworkers messed up.
And now, was this to promote you for acting jobs?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go ahead and play this clip. It's working the weekend video.
Actually coined the phrase pig's nipple to express to you the value of your research. It's pants, shite, shag me in the arse, complete and utter dreck. I simply can't wait to spend my weekend fixing it so that I can keep my miserable job. No. Don't apologise. I know your brother. I know him to be equally as stupid. Thus, it's really my own fault for not recognising this flaw as genetic. But what I would love to go on chatting away with you, I simply cannot help you. However, you can help me by shutting your fucking mouth and dropping dead. Thank you, and have a lovely night.
Did you write that?
Yeah.
Every single word. I'm not trying to patronize you. At first, I didn't understand it. Then I watched it again. I said, "This makes sense." Then I watched it a third time. Every single word in that skit made sense.
So I shot that with a friend of mine who's actually a pretty well-known cinematographer, and we were just, just kind of screwing around. We just wanted to shoot some stuff. I think he got a new camera at the time, so we were just kind of killing time. But yeah, it was fun. I mean, I've shot lots of stuff just for kicks with people around LA. Tried to start getting back into doing that here with and now, I mean, you can shoot great stuff on your phone.
Oh, it's amazing.
Your barriers to entry are so low, and you can get really, really great footage if you just have talented people.
Well, you were a good actress. That was good. But I said to my wife, I said, "Listen to this. Every single word makes sense." It really did. Did you write that all just off the spot?
Yeah.
I
did, yeah.
I enjoyed it. And it was funny. It was comical. Okay, now, you were in America's Most Wanted.
Yes, I was.
Wanted. And what year was that?
Oh, good question. It's been a minute.
So you had an agent. How did you get that job? Through an agent?
No, I actually got that through the casting director. Called me and asked me to audition for it. The DC, it's probably a lot like here, maybe a few years ago, because this is certainly a much bigger town. But it's a much smaller community, so people, everybody knows each other, and you work a lot off of referral.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's face, this is from America's Most Wanted. I only showed 30 seconds of it.
6 hours later, after the alleged attack, Tessa Newhart had stopped off at a convenience store on her way to work.
Hey.
I'm Paul Phillips from Puddle of Mud. We've been hanging around town, scoping out local bars where we might play tonight.
Sure.
No, seriously.
Look, I gotta get to work.
Look, I need a favor, all right? I don't have a car, and I got to get down the road to this car dealership down here. I'm meeting a friend.
Look, I'm sorry, I can't. I've got to go to work. I'm gonna be late.
I'm Paul Phillips. I'll even sign an autograph for you, okay? I like to give them right here.
Hey, I didn't appreciate that. Excuse me.
Whoa.
Sure.
Sad thing about it's true.
Yeah.
So what happens? The guy hops. She gets in the car. The guy hops around to the other side and is trying to abduct her. And she pulls into a car lot. And then he flies. But it was true.
Yep.
It was a true story. Did that lead to any other work?
Well, again, I mean, that particular casting director I've worked with quite a bit. And then I went on to get Try from knowing. The DC Baltimore film community is really great because, like I said, it's a lot more tight knit. So you work with people and they refer you for other things, and it's nice. So I'm still in very good contact and have strong relationships with a lot of people that I worked with 10 years ago even.
How far away is Baltimore from DC?
About 25-30 minutes.
Oh, that's that close.
Yeah.
I got my car towed in DC once. That was not pleasant.
I got my car towed here. So.
You did? How long did it take you to get back?
To where?
Did you get your car back?
I got it right away, but yeah.
Oh, it was rough. I had to go to court, everything. And I said, what it is, I parked here, and a mile up was a no parking sign. And I told the judge, I mean, there was no sign. It was a mile. He let me go, which is unusual in New York. They said, if you farm boys from Indiana can't drive, don't come to our city. But anyway, but I like D.C. I've never been to Baltimore, though. How's things? It's getting very expensive to live there, too, isn't it?
I mean, there's a lot of people that commute into DC from there, but yeah, I mean, it's certainly nothing compared to New York or LA.
You got to watch the movie Diner.
Yeah,
you have to. And then there's a loose movie based loosely called Tin Men that was on the other end of the diner, but that's a great movie. It's your city. It's a true story. It's a guy.
There's lots of stuff that comes out of Baltimore.
Like what else? What other movie?
Well, there's The Wire. There's Homicide.
Oh yeah. Well, the guy that wrote it, he grew up in Baltimore. He did Rain Man. Mm-hmm. He directed Rain Man. But now, okay. So let me ask you. So are you still acting? Mm-hmm. So will you be in some of your productions?
No.
You won't.
No.
You won't.
No.
So you're a director too.
No. I'm a producer.
You're a producer.
So very different, yeah.
Oh, really?
Directing is behind the camera, telling people what to do. That's not really my forte.
What does a producer do?
So for us, I'm going to pick the content that we get, to make. That's
that what a producer does?
There's all kinds of different ways to be a producer, and lots of different ways to get credited on things.
Because I have a cousin, my dad's first cousin. His name's Barry Glazer. He did the you don't do, you're too young. Newlywed Game. You remember the Newlywed Game, the dating game, and a show called Midnight Special, and he does the New Year's show at the New York.
Oh, okay.
The Ball Drop Show.
Okay.
For years and years. He was executive producer. What's the difference between executive producer and a producer?
Oftentimes it has to do with money, somebody that puts money in, or it can also be defined based on how you're going. A lot of times that actually dictates how you get paid on a production. So executive producers get paid differently than regular producers.
Are they on the set?
Not necessarily, but sometimes.
His best friend is Regis Philbin. Oh. They go on a cruise in New York City. New York City. Did you go in? You lived right in the city?
I did.
Yeah. Where'd you live?
I lived most recently on the Upper West Side by Central Park.
Oh, Central Park. I stayed, when I was 17-year-old, stayed at the Barbizon Hotel. You ever heard of the Barbizon Hotel? Probably torn down. It's probably torn down now. But, so anyway, you're going to be here for a year.
Yes.
You're starting a production company.
Yes.
And will you continue with that production company after a year here?
Yes. I mean, the goal would be to get it set up here, and then, if not me, then somebody else from the team would be here full time. Right now we're in New York and LA, so we...
What's the name of your team?
Can't tell you that yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Full of secrets.
Can't tell you that yet.
Because you were going to have a big announcement. That's not ready yet, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, gotcha. I thought you maybe be in a Netflix show or something like that. But you have to keep us posted.
I will absolutely keep you posted. Yep.
How many Facebook friends do you have?
Probably 5,000.
Oh, 5, you're all filled up.
Yeah. But people drop off. People unfriend me all the time.
Yeah, especially after they hear my joke.
I don't even do anything.
I get unfriended all the time after they hear my joke. No one wants to be in their shows.
It's a rough life.
It is rough. I'm old. But anyway, anything else you'd like to say? Future goals? Any upcoming projects other than this thing we can't talk about?
It's just send good vibes.
Did you see the movie The Green Book?
No.
Oh, you didn't? It's a good movie.
I did not.
It was filmed there. There's a friend of mine. His name's Ricky Buse. He comes on the show a lot. So this guy was a security guard at Emory. They were filming a movie 10 years ago. He's an unusual look, and he's a good actor. And he was given a tour. He cracked a joke. The director said, "Would you like to do a screen test?" He goes, "Oh yeah, right." Anyway, he's been in movie after movie, and the latest one is The Green Book. If you ever see, he was in Trouble with the Curve. Did you ever see that?
No.
But in The Green Book, that was a big hit. When he kicks the stars out of the bar. But if you ever see it, his name's Ricky Muse. You can't miss him. I'll show you a picture of him before you leave. But he's in a lot of stuff, and it was just a fluke. He was standing there, and it turns out he can act.
Can't hurt.
You never know.
Timing is everything. Timing is everything.
Timing is everything, but the important thing is be prepared for when that time comes.
Yes.
That's not good. Very good. Listen, Walker, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
I'm sure we're going to hear big thanks. It's welcome.
I hope
great
so.
in Atlanta. I hope you have. Are you performing anywhere else soon?
Not this week. I'm not. I'm off for the holiday. Getting ready to.
Anything next week?
Going to Charlotte for the holiday.
Oh, you are? Oh, for Charlotte. You have relatives there?
I do.
Because all my relatives are from Hamlet. My mother was born in Hamlet.
Okay.
And High Point, North Carolina.
I know High Point, furniture capital.
Oh yeah, you're sharp. You're very sharp. So anyway, thank you so much.
Thanks for
I
having
appreciate
me.
it. It's an honor to have you come on.
Thank you very much. I'm thrilled to be here, and I'm looking forward to doing big things in Atlanta.
Big things. So tune in for Comics on Parole in another month when we don't know who will be on, but they will be here. Thank you.